The Delmore Daye Learning Institute would like to acknowledge that we are located in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. We acknowledge the peace and friendship treaties signed in this territory and recognize that we are all treaty people. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on till victory is won.
One of the most inspiring stories about my grandmother is the fact that she learned to read and write as an adult. The best part of that story is that she had been taught by her great-granddaughter, Lorna, whom she had raised. It was such a source of pride for her to read the Bible or the daily newspaper and to be able to sign her own checks. When you are denied education, you value it so much more when access is granted. My mother told me stories about living on her family's farm, which they owned, and how she would play with the pigs, horses, dogs, cattle, chickens, turkeys, and cats. She remembered when she was young having difficulty understanding when the animals were sent away to the quote-unquote slaughterhouse, when they already lived at the quote slaughter residence. Mom remembered running through the grass, picking blackberries and blueberries, and finding carrots and cucumbers in the fields as a child. She told us stories about how she began school because a teacher had come to visit one day and had told my grandmother that it was time for my mother to start school to learn how to read and write. Mom said that she had never seen my grandmother so excited, and she could not believe that she was allowed to go to school. My grandfather had a different reaction. He told my mother that he was not excited about her going, and that she would have to complete her farm chores every day before going to school. My mother would wake up at the crack of dawn every day for years to get to those chores so that she could be at school on time.
Hi, my name is Sophia Wedderburn, and I'm proud to be African Nova Scotian. Today, I'd like to talk to you a bit about stories and storytelling. To me, stories are expression, inspiration, and survival. They are powerful carriers of our culture that sustain us, teach us, and connect us to our roots. The beautiful thing about our stories is their versatility. They are written, they're spoken, sung, drummed, and so much more. Our stories have played a pivotal role in shaping who I am today and who I aspire to be. When I didn't see representation of my culture or history in school, it was stories from my family and our community that taught me. I didn't have much time with my grandfather, Gus Wedderburn, or Papa Gus as I call him, before he passed. But it's through dinner table stories from my grandmother, my aunt, and my dad that I've learned about my Papa's time as principal at Bloomfield School and about his tireless advocacy work for equality and justice. I've learned about his love of music, especially the voice of my nanny Sylvia, when answering his request to sing the song Yellowbird. I've learned even more about his life and the stories that shaped him from his semi-autobiography called Righting the Wrongs, which is just right there. By coming to know him through stories, I've learned that I want to emulate his drive, his zest for life, and his resilience in all that I do. I was only 2 years old when my great-aunt Rosemary passed, who's Gus's sister. But stories of her were and continue to be bountiful as told through my family, through her own words in her book called Being Brown, and through many encounters with those who knew her and were inspired by her over the years. Storytellers are the pillars of this powerful vessel of our culture. Without storytellers, many of our stories would be lost, because storytellers give life to stories and pass them down through generations. There's no better example of this than Dr. Wanda Thomas Bernard, who we're celebrating today. She's an incredible storyteller whose words of truth, courage, resilience, and hope have greatly impacted me and so many others. I first met Dr. Bernard at the Delmore Daye Learning Institute's African History Challenges several years ago. I was honored to receive an award for a piece of writing that I submitted that year. And I remember how special it was that I had the award presented to me by Dr. Bernard. She made me feel seen, heard, and powerful. Dr. Bernard says to lead the change that you want to see in your world. Stories through the eyes of Dr. Bernard, through my grandfather, and my great-aunt Rosemary, and so many others have given me the strength and drive to work and to advocate for that change and to lift as I climb.
His name was James Albert Thomas. He left school early to help his parents with his younger siblings and to help out on the family farm. My father went to work early in his life. He was a laborer who did seasonal work, worked on a farm in Cold Harbor, and later became a bricklayer. I remember hearing stories about him having a job doing reconstruction and bricklaying at Citadel Hill in Halifax. He actually worked at Citadel Hill the day that he died in 1965.
Leah, another comment?
I have a question.
Question.
So, like back then, why didn't they let black people or women to go to school?
That's a very good question. So we're asking why was it not allowed, or why was it frowned upon that black people or women were allowed to go to school? Why was the grandmother so excited for the mom to go to school?
Because she can learn. Maybe because now finally women can do something a job or something.
That's good, Emanuela. Yeah, maybe it's because now women are actually going to get jobs and become educated. Kyle?
Maybe because her grandmother never went to school, so she wants her children to get that feeling that she never got.
That's a really good idea, Kyle. I like that. Haley?
Making change. We are persistently searching for a way to progress, a way to thrive, to move forward in rights that aren't compressed. In some of the world, they try to forget, but how could we forget if it's still widely unprocessed? Learning from history, making change are both important ways that we should arrange to teach everyone of any race, age, or height that all of our stories weren't always so bright. We have come a long way, that I can't deny, yet racism and xenophobia sneak their way into our lives. Now, how can we get rid of them permanently? Unfortunately, that's really difficult, and I don't think it can be eradicated easily. Recognition is step one, where we all understand what we've become. Can we really start to unstate it when some have failed to be educated? Our law and justice systems, no matter how much they oppose it, were built against our success, so we were then made to seem unfit. Severe and substandard stereotypes stick stoutly by us still, so seeing sharply into our severed souls could maybe gain us our will. Several individuals just can't seem to understand the fact that their history hasn't seen this situation. It's equality versus equity, different elements that can give a helping hand, but in the end it's all justice that can really fix this devastation. So making this known, making everyone familiar, is probably the first thing we should do to make change, I figure. They told us that our hair was too kinky, or that our skin is too dark. They divided us and continue to keep us under. We suffer at the hand of the oppressor. Through generational trauma, white supremacy, and blatant racism, for Black people to rise, we must come together first and remove the ignorance from our own community. To our people from different nationalities, ethnicities, and ages to unite in this unceasing war against racial injustice. This cruel war has taken many lives. When will this war end? We are all trying to fight in this war alone as an individual soldier. The little Black boy who goes into the world just to be harassed because of his race, or the Black woman who experiences constant microaggressions from her co-workers. Just 2 out of the millions of people who are fighting in different battles in the same war as an individual soldier. There is power in numbers. There is an African proverb that says, if you want to go quickly, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. If we move forward in unity to fight for our justice, recognition, and development, we can build a better, safer future for the next generations by being there for each other, supporting Black businesses, knowing our history and where we came from, and reclaiming what is ours. Black people don't just need unity, we deserve it. Just as we deserve peace and tranquility. United, we will stand together against racial injustice.
feel blessed to have many wonderful, warm memories of Wanda Robson. For me, a common theme of being in the presence of Wanda was this feeling of warmth and really, really making you feel like you were the most special person in the whole world, in the universe maybe. And this way that she had about her, this warmth, this genuineness, was most evident for me when I saw her with children. You could just see how much she loved being around children. And she made children feel so special. Wanda had this nice little habit of clasping her hands around someone's hands, children's hands, and saying to them, "Oh, my hands were cold. Thank you for making them feel so warm." Wanda was just such a special person. I know that she's dearly missed by anyone who had the privilege of being in her presence. We appreciate her here at Delmore Daye Learning Institute, and I appreciate her for sharing her time with us, her experiences, and her knowledge.
And this news came out about Viola and the incident. And I was in bed when she came home, so I didn't hear her. She came home and spoke to Dad and Mom. My father was furious. You know, that was his baby. But I got to work next day, and I heard the word jail about Viola, and I think that was about all I could hear. I was 19 and an idiot. Well, you know, I mean, I heard the word jail. I thought, my sister went to jail. I didn't say what happened. What happened? She was at fault because she went to jail. This was all I thought. But when I found out what had happened, and I matured a little bit in my mental thinking, what a wonderful person, what a wonderful thing to do. And I have been asked many times, what would you have done if that had happened to you? And I said, well, I would have gotten up and gone out with my head down. I would have been angry, but I would never go back into that theater again. Well, the world would need people like that don't stand up for themselves. But a lot of us can't. I mean, we don't have it in us. We understand what has happened. We're angry, but we do nothing. But Viola did something, didn't she? Yes. And I'm so proud to be her sister, and I'm blessed to be here, to be able to verify and to tell, and also there's many embassies out there now telling her story. It's been told over and over again, and it's, as you said, Your Honor, it's forever. It's there forever, and I couldn't be. The tears are coming. I couldn't be more proud.
The Viola Desmond story has gone global.
Yes, yes.
And we've gone from telling the story in books to streets being named after Viola Desmond, to chairs. There's more than one chair in Canada, named schools named after Viola Desmond. Of course, we all know about the $10 bill in the Mint. Are you able to share the new things on the horizon?
Well, there's I'm going to Ottawa at the end of this month, and they're having a senate at the senators, and I'm to be one of the senators. No, I'm to be in the group, and they're going to honor Viola, and there's something else. You know what? You'll find out.
Yeah.
When you get older, you've got it all you go to say, and all of a sudden, blank. But there's, as I said, there's more adulation, and you do know that there are 3 schools in Ontario, in Ajax and Milton, that I forget the other one, but they are open now.
In Bond?
Thank you. I don't know what I do without his memory, but you know, have opened. Viola Desmond Elementary Schools. It's unbelievable what has happened. We have a panel. They're still deciding on the in New Glasgow. They're going to have a gala opening of a panel there for viola in the same building that the theater was located in. The Roseanne Theater. It is now a series of law offices, and now they're having this. I think it's a contest going on for who can. They're going to pick out the best panels, and as you walk into the law offices, there'll be artistry work and from viola from anybody. So there's a center for a drop-in center in the Glasgow. Is that right, Joe? Correct. There's a center. Viola's Place. Did you know about that? And that's set up for people who are homeless, and it's advantageous to all these things. The things that have happened. You know, there's the ferry and as you know, the bill, and there's the coin. Have you heard of the coin? You've heard of the $20 silver coin. I'm thinking to myself, where is it going to end? And then I hope it doesn't end.
Yes.
I hope it doesn't, because, what really is important. This is important that we're doing about viola that has been going on for 20 years, I
20
guess.
years, for at least.
But the fact that I feel so privileged that I can speak to school children. Yesterday, I was at Elmsdale School, and it always makes me feel like this is what it's all about. It's these children growing up. It's historic, but it's also the fact that they can walk in somebody's shoes. They can carry on the message of equality. When I look at their faces and I think, I don't see bias, I don't see prejudice. All I see is a little people that are eager, they're happy, and they want to learn. And I hope they do. And learn about, like, when I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to play with my friend across the street from me. I lived on Goddison Street, and I went to Alexander School. But when her father was home, her father was a soldier, and he used to be away quite a bit. And when he was away, I could go in her yard, we could play. When he was home, I couldn't go and play with her. She couldn't play with me. So my father got very angry with the situation. And so when she came over one day, the little girl, to play with me, my father said to my mother, well, I don't see why we should allow her to come in here and play with, when our daughter's not allowed to go over there and play. It sounds kind of crazy, doesn't it? But that's the way it was. But my mother said, oh, come on, look at them. They're little kids. They like each other. They're playing together. That's what it's all about. You start out this way. Children don't see color. They're taught it. And Dad said, well, I guess you're right. But we never, my mom never saw color. My mom had an open house to anybody, for things like that. But I know when I was three and a half, my mom had the back door open in the kitchen, and I was in the yard playing so she could see me. And the boy from across the street, he was maybe 10 or 12, came over, and guess what? He called me the N-word. I was like 3 or 4 years old. He called me the N-word. And I looked at him, and I gave it right back to him. I said, well, I mean, I didn't know what he was saying. I thought it was cute. And I said, oh, hi, Ann. But that was just a fun thing growing up. But
Wanda, do you think things have changed?
Hey, pardon?
Do you think things have changed?
Oh, yes, they have changed.
How do you see change?
I see change in job opportunities. I see change in education system. Speaking of education, education. That's the key. That's the key. I mean, no matter what education that you chose, or your young person in your family, or you yourself as a senior had chosen this way of life, you can't go anywhere. You can't be anything without some kind of education. And when I say education, I mean, there's university, of course. There's college. There's business. There's trade. It's all in computers. So, well, you've got it. I know nothing. I am computer ignorant, but I know there's so many fields out there. There's so many things that young people you are so fortunate. So fortunate. When I was growing up, I could be a doctor, a lawyer, which is lovely, fine. We need them, professional people. But there's also these people that are now scientists, that are out there working on going here, going there, going up there. I'm not going. Not yet. But I make joke, but I'm serious too when I come to my beautiful, wonderful children, all of them, the children. I just feel so privileged to speak to them, and I even sing for them. But I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to sing, Joe. Please.
One of the things that I was saying to my colleagues this evening is one of the most special parts of this whole story, Wanda, is that you're here with us to experience the growth of this story. And for you, tell me what that is like, because it just keeps changing. And you're following the story everywhere it goes, across the country and beyond. So, where has it all, for myself personally, it has started with Dr. Reynolds here, he and I together. This road that we've traveled, this experience, because, I know I was different, but I went out to work, I went to school, and you get the barbs and the things of safe people, but I really got to understand what it means for people to treat you differently. I'm not answering your question because I forgot it. but if you bear with me, take me as I am. but I just this. Do you realize this all just started when I got educated? You have to be educated to understand racism. I mean, I had to be, because I denied it. I just kept on going, and if I got insults, well, I put my head down. Like people say to me, well, what would you have done if you had been like violent and you told get out, you can't stay here? Well, I would have gone. I would have gone with my head down. I'd have been angry, but I would have gone and never go back. Now people like me at that time are not going to help, are not going to be. Not everybody can be an activist. Not everybody can get up and say what they have to say, whether negative or positive. But you can, one little thing, small things, make big differences. I've seen them. I've seen differences in attitudes toward people and toward the mingling of different races, and in a nice way, in a normal way. In a normal way. It has nothing to do with people being, well, maybe I'll be nice to him or her, but, you know, they're foreigners and they're taking our jobs and all that nonsense. We can go on and be open. Yeah, Canada is known for that. You know, I lived 11 years in the United States, but I never forgot Canada. I love Canada, love Nova Scotia. Just the smell of it. I love Nova Scotia. And I will be till I die, Nova Scotian. But all you people here, did I say you people? Oh, you wonderful, wonderful audience. I got caught. But you wonderful audience, just turn to your neighbor and say, hi, neighbor.
That's right.
Hi, neighbor. Hi, neighbor. It's just, you know, I realize it because I'm of that ilk and age, but life can be just so wonderful. And I know what's going on in the world. I read the papers, read what's going on. Make your own decisions politically or whatever. I've got my decision politically in the States here. I won't go into that one. Anyway, but I'm gonna cry. It's a wonderful, wonderful life if we can just realize that people are just people. People are just people with skins. I mean, we're short, we're tall, we're fat, we're thin, we're beautiful. When we're plain looking, we have glasses, we don't have glasses. It's just, you know, I wish you could understand that it really doesn't matter. But what matters is our young people and education, and I think it's getting there. I think we're getting there slowly. Sam Cooke said the change is going to come.
That's right.
Well, the change is going to come. Well, that was 20 years ago, 25. Maine, it was in the 60s. It was longer than that.
Well, see, there you answered my question.
What? Oh, did I?
You did.
Juanita, I just a thought I have, to state the obvious, really. I think that Wanda is a good example of a force in her own right, that she has really brought this story to light, and she had the conviction and the persistence to bring the story forward and to reach out to the public and raise awareness. And I think that the fact that we're here today and that we've seen this play and we've celebrated the tremendous milestones in regards to the development of the story, and certainly going back to my career and the things that have happened to me as a result of my association with Wanda, are all the fruits of really what Wanda has been doing and what she has persisted at, which is really to get the message out and to really to say to the children and to everyone that one person can make a difference. And her sister did it, and Wanda has done it. And I think that that's really what is perhaps one of the most important lessons about the story and what we're talking about today in terms of the legacy of Viola Desmond is very much Wanda's story and her persistence in getting that message out and changing the world.
Yes, and you could see that. Yeah. And just before we turn it over to the audience, Dr. Graham, I want to know if you could just sort of talk a little bit about what the chair does.
So the Viola Desmond Chair was created by our former president, John Harker, in 2010. It was really a gesture that he made after the free pardon was issued in 2010 by the government of Nova Scotia. And he was touched by the story and the connection that CBU had, Cape Breton University had, to the story. So he created the Viola Desmond Chair and honored me with the first position as the chair. So the focus of the chair is to raise public awareness through research and through the development of African Canadian studies, particularly in development of curriculum materials. The books that Wanda and I have worked on together, that I've written, have been directed toward educating youth and anybody really who wants to read and learn about African Canadian studies. It's accessible and can be used in the classroom as a supplement to Canadian history. So that's a big part of the chair, is to reach out through curriculum and develop curriculum materials and to raise public awareness. It's really been a blessing for me to have the honor of being the chair. I didn't look at it as a job. I thought it was just an inspiration. And of course, Wanda has been very much the engine that has inspired me for all these years, and will continue to do so. So we're in the process now of trying to create the permanently endowed chair, which will live on forever. Will be the legacy, I guess, of Wanda and myself, and continue to again educate and to make all Canadians aware of the tremendous rich legacy that African Canadians have created, and something that has been a kind of almost a footnote to Canadian history, should be the part of the mainstream of Canadian history, not a footnote. And
Yes. One more thing. I'd like to say one more thing. I would like to say, I think the best overall thing that ever happened was, at that time, our Lieutenant Governor, Mayan Francis, when she wrote her name to the pardon, to Viola's pardon. And that was the beginning of it all, the pardon that Viola got. And some of my family was saying that, well, gee, she didn't do anything wrong, so why should she be down in the records as having a criminal record? It's history, it's legacy, and this is why we're here. It's wonderful. Yes. I thank you all today for being here.
Thank you. And I want to thank you, Dr. Reynolds, for shepherding that chair and doing the work that you're doing. It's not easy being the first at anything, so so you're creating a new roadmap, which is very much appreciated. We want to make sure that the audience gets a chance to ask some questions. Is there anybody out there that would like to ask a question of Dr. Reynolds or Dr. Robson?
Just come to the mic if you do have a question.
Anybody? It's your chance.
Good, I'm ready for my nap. No, it's okay.
Yes, can you ask into the mic?
I have quite a loud voice.
Okay, all right.
Wanda, what do you think Viola's response to all this would have been if she, I mean, obviously towards the end she was trying to really downplay it.
Yeah.
What do you think her thoughts on
Response to all this?
Yes.
I've thought of that myself. Viola and I were very close, but I think she had a very quiet voice. I think she would raise her voice a bit. She'd say, "Oh, Wani." She'd say, "Oh, it was going to be Wani." Wani, I can't believe that this has happened, and I have you to thank for it. That's what she would say to me, but she is the one who started this all. But she'd be very proud, quietly proud. She was always, even when she was excited, she was quietly excited. If you can, it's sort of an oxymoron, I guess, but she would say, "I'm glad for my family, for the family to get this." And mostly, she loved children. And I think she'd be happy that children would get a message. Some of them would, anyway. Yes. Yes.
Anybody else? Yeah. David.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
She knows it's a loaded question, David.
So I'm going to actually just throw it back to her because I think there's one clarification that maybe you want to share. That's about your mom, her background, the background of your mother.
Your background of my mother?
Yeah, just so the audience knows.
Oh, my mother was born in New Haven, Connecticut, and her father was born in Richmond, Virginia. My mom, her father had been, he was a minister, my mom's father, and when you're a minister, when you first begin, you have to do like a doctor, you have to go internship or something. He had to go to speak in various churches, and he was chosen to speak in Cornwallis Street Baptist Church. And he went there twice. First time he was not married. The second time he was married, and he had 2 children, my mother being one. And then my mom would come back every year for a little vacation to Halifax and in the area. And that's when my father spotted her. It was love at first sight, and right to the end, they were matched. They were a great match. And it's a great love story, and they were in this club, the Criterion Club, which was a club of citizens, black citizens, of husband and wife, and what they did was they would give prizes out to anybody in school who had excellent marks. They would find jobs, or try to find jobs decent jobs for blacks. They had meetings to discuss housing things that were important to everybody, but they were important to our group in the north end of the city. And my mom and dad were part of that. But when they married, dad was 23, mom was 19. They married secretly in Halifax, and in the church, and in the church had a bulletin out, and in the bulletin was the copy of their marriage, and it was sent to her father. Her father did not know that she had gotten married, so she went home to tell him, and he was a man from the south, and he had pork chops for breakfast and all that stuff. She said, I'm cooking these and I'm not feeling very well. And he said to her, he sat down to the table, well, Gwendolyn, don't you have something to tell me? But he got over it. His baby girl got married and had a family and lived in Halifax. But that was the connection then, that was the connection then concerning the Halifax explosion. That was another story, but they were a match made in heaven. Believe me, they were, the two of them. But
today, the day of email, that word would have got out before you left the church. So everybody would have known.
Yeah.
So, is that what you meant, David? Is that what you?
Yeah.
Oh. What did you?
What's that? What?
She was not a white lady.
What, David?
Oh, that your mother was not a white woman. That your mother was not white.
Well, what's that? What is he asking me?
No, it's okay. I just wanted to get on because. Your mother was of black.
Well, my mother had she was not she didn't look black.
Mm-hmm.
What's the word? I don't know. It's gone.
She was fair skinned.
Yeah. She was white skinned. Yeah. But her mother was white, and her father was biracial. And does it make any difference? Nah. They loved each other. So.
Anybody else? Anybody else? No. Okay.
Okay.
Is there anything that Dr.
Reynolds,
is there
would you like to say?
anything that you think is really important going forward that people need to know about this story?
Well, it's an ongoing story. I think that going back to the question, where are we? I think we're somewhere at the at the beginning in terms of the kind of changes and the kind of awareness that is necessary. And I think it's going back to what Wanda said about education and the need really to bring together the various narratives that are all part of the Canadian symphony of stories, racial and of various other stories that need to be, I think, taught to all Canadians. So I think this is something that I think is important, is to present Canadian history in an integrated way in which no voice is left unheard, in the context of all the other stories as well.
Wanda?
Can I tell a funny story?
Of course.
Has nothing to do with getting along, but I was living in the States, and Viola was living in New York, and my mom wrote her and said, can you have time to go visit Wanda? I had 3 little children then, and say hi to her because, I think she needs company. So Viola came. So I thought to myself, well, we're Nova Scotians. I didn't have any money. I was on social assistance with 3 little children. But I'm going to stretch it, and I'm going to buy her a lobster. Oh, well, Nova Scotians, lobster. So I buy this lobster. Yes. So I feed the children. They go do a little playing, whatever they're doing. The pot is boiling. Viola's making salad. So I pick up the lobsters in the bag, and I take the lobster out, and I'm getting ready to put it in the boiling water. I heard this scream. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's Viola. I said, I'm cooking your lobster. You mean you put the live lobster into the boiling water? I said, well, yes, that's how you cook it. Don't you dare. She said, that's cruel. That's cruel. How can you do that? Give me that lobster. I was living near an ocean then, and then she takes the lobster and give me the bag. I want the bag. She said, it's a live crustacean. It's a creature. How could you? That's just what everybody else does. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm no monster, but you like lobster. So she puts it in a bag, and off she goes. She comes back a little while later with a bag in her hand, and she said, here it is. I said, what's that? She said, you can cook that. There's 2 pork chops in there. Yeah. I should have asked her, did you speak to the pig about this? I said, how do you explain this? She said, you live lobster. That's cruel. That's cool. So every time I have I don't have them very often, no, but every time I think of Viola and the lobster, so yes.
This is why we know the story is not over.
Yeah.
And we invite you all to keep watching the growth of the Viola Desmond story.
Yeah.
I've heard there's a movie on the horizon. Miniseries. And so keep your eyes open for that. And I want to thank you, Dr. Reynolds, and also Dr. Wanda Robson for continuing to do the work. And we know that when you're creating new inroads, it's not easy,
yeah.
but you're having fun at it.
Oh,
and that's what's most important.
Life is fun. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much to you.
Get up if I can. Can't get up. Really, you think I'm joking?
I'm sitting here there looking at this $10 bill, thinking World War I grandmama say still, cause before there was Rosa, we had Viola, a black female entrepreneur from Scotia. They wouldn't let her into school, but that wouldn't stop her. So she went to learn from Madam C.J. Walker, the first black female millionaire. Couldn't learn here, so she went down there. She was on a business trip, car broke down, so she stopped at a movie theater. When she sat down, she stood up, cause when they told her that she had to move, she wouldn't. They even locked her up too. Might not have heard till it came out in the news. Carrie Best was a writer, first black publisher too. Fast forward and Viola's sister grew. Wanda Robson wanted to make sure that everybody knew. Lieutenant Governor gave her a pardon. Mayanne Francis set the wheels in motion. It was starting. Are you seeing how a black woman gave another black woman freedom? Look at these achievements from black women in Nova Scotia. But it isn't a surprise, I've seen it in my family throughout history. So many women have changed the world, literally, yeah. So this is for my daughter too. You know what you gotta do. Change the world, yeah. One woman can't change the world, yeah. One woman can't change the world. One woman can't change the world, yeah. I know that you will and what you can be. Focus on your big dreams, never plan B. Don't listen to no one, to no man, cause you know that one woman can't change the world, yeah. Shout out Coretta Scott King and every young girl with a dream. Around here we wouldn't know what it means if we didn't have women like Jean Augustine. She's the reason we celebrate Black History Month. Was only 1995 that it was done, and now they wanna put a black woman on the 20. Harriet Tubman spent many years here, helping plenty, yeah. And since we all came from a woman, got a name for a woman, time to celebrate all women. It's only right to honor. I love Barack, but he wouldn't be there without Michelle Obama, yeah. So this is for the mothers. Raise your kids, it doesn't matter the color. There's no way that we can pay you back, but the plan is to show you that we understand. Y'all appreciate it, yeah. Shout out to legendary women like Afeni Shakur, who changed the world, yeah. One woman can't change the world. One woman can't change the world, yeah. I know that you will and what you can be. Focus on your big dreams, never plan B. Don't listen to no one, to no man, cause you know that one woman can't change the world. 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 One woman can't change the world.
We tell our stories to remember.
We tell our stories to inspire.
We tell our stories to educate.
We tell our stories because our stories matter.